Most sales leaders think they have a strategy problem. They buy the best leads, they rewrite the playbooks and train teams on new approaches. But here's the core truth. Your strategy isn't failing, your visibility is. No, great sales processes don't crash and burn. They fail silently because no one is watching the execution. Now, on paper, say for example, you have a process that is quite perfect. Let's take an example that every day you have 40 leads that you're allocating to your SDRs. And the process that they have to follow is that they have to say, reach out to those leads within the first 24 hours through call and email. And the next day, that's your day one, they need to do an email follow up. Day three can be a call follow up. Now, these day-to-day mapping of activity and setting that processes all looks great on a PDF or an Excel sheet. But in the real world, what happens is these leads sit in the CRM for more than 24, 36, 72 hours, and there is no first approach that is. When we talk about the follow-ups, again, it doesn't happen in a timely fashion. For some leads, say the follow-up happens today, for some tomorrow. So there is a lot of inconsistency over there. And what management sees is failing revenue. But what they cannot see is the missing clicks or the missing links or gaps over here. And the reason for this is quite simple. The reason is that most organizations design processes but never design monitoring system. So once the strategy is defined, the assumption is that the sales team will execute it. But sales teams are dealing with high volume of leads. They have multiple tools that they work on. There's say a constant switching of context that, okay, what is the focus? Do we focus on generating leads? Do we focus on nurturing of the leads? What is it that we exactly do? And then there is that pressure of closing deals and bringing in the revenue for the company. And without having monitoring systems in place, the execution becomes inconsistent. And the cost of that is huge for a company. Now, the missing layer over here is an activity monitoring system. What we have done is we have built sort of a digital order that sits on top of your CRM. Instead of hoping that your team, say, for example, follows the process, this system verifies it in real. And what we have done is we have had every single task divided in 3 different segments. One is the action, whether the reach out was done or not done. The deadline, did it go as per the set timelines? Like say, for example, a lead is to be contacted within 24 hours, what they're done or not. And lastly, the flag. If it was not done, then who needs to know about it? So let me quickly show you how this entire workflow and how this entire monitoring system is built. So when we go on to N8n, this is what we have done, wherein we have our first workflow, which is a simple daily reporting, wherein every single day, the management gets a report of the complete compliance. Now, the compliance data, this is basically what are the tasks that are allocated, how many of those tasks are done, how many follow-ups are done, and then a report goes out to the team that, yeah, this is the output for today. So what we've done over here is we have an integrated Slack to send in those daily messages. It becomes very much important for a company to have a structured communication channel through which they can have the daily reports, the daily tracking done. Slack is one such channel. A lot of teams use Teams or Google Chat, and that can be integrated over here as well. So I'll just quickly show you an example of how the output looks like. So as you can see over here on Slack, we have the exact output in terms of the quick report that, okay, this is the report for today. These were the number of flags. These were the pending follow-ups. Further, to detail this out, what we have done is we have created a complete monitoring system that checks every single activity update done by your sales team, wherein it tracks on a hourly basis, wherein we have the activities that get updated. Now, in terms of the activities, what all things does it monitor is for every single prospect, who is the SDR that is allocated, which day of the lead is it at? Like say, for example, if that lead was just added onto the CRM, then it's on day 0. If it's the next day, then it's day 1. So that is how we have mapped the current days. We have also tracked at what point that particular SDR started the activity and when was the last time they checked that particular activity. So what we are doing over here is that we are seeing on an hourly basis of those tasks and routing it for different actions. Say, for example, if within 6 hours, a particular task was not done, a reminder gets sent to the SDR. Then we have other escalations. So if a particular task was not done within 24 hours, then the SDR and the manager again get a notification. And further, if you want to escalate, even after 24 hours, a particular task was not done, that was allocated, then the manager gets a notification that this is urgent and your SDR hasn't completed that particular task. So I'll just quickly show you how the output looks like on Slack, wherein we have sent those messages. If it's an SDR reminder, this is how it goes, that today you have to send this particular prospect an email. So it marks it as an incomplete task. At the same time, what we've also done is, instead of just notifying it directly on Slack, we have created another workflow wherein we are even adding that as a task onto the CRM. Now, in this case, we have taken HubSpot as a CRM, but again, we can integrate any CRM that is that company uses, be it HubSpot, be it Zoho, be it Salesforce, and we can have this setup done over there. Again, moving back to Slack, we can see how the SDR manager notification looks like, wherein the SDR is notified and the manager is kept in CC. And finally, the last level of escalation, wherein the manager is only told that, see, this particular SDR has not completed the task for D1 for these prospects, and immediate action is required. So the job of this particular workflow is to ensure that every single activity as per the process happens. And if it is not happening, proper actions are taken to ensure that the implementation, the execution becomes smoother. Further, we have also created a complete outreach compliance system, wherein, say, if you have prospects or if you're purchasing leads and you have decided that you're going to allocate 40 leads per day per SDR, then we have set a complete process for it. Start to end, that say there is a database that's either stored in Google Sheet or you can directly have it on the CRM. In this case, we have taken it on a Google Sheet. What it does is it allocates 40 specific prospects to those SDRs. It creates that particular data on the CRM, creates a task on the CRM that this is a particular prospect that's added. Now, as you can see over here, we have even shown that what is the task, that complete call and email for this prospect in 24 hours. Next is it notifies the SDR that new data has been allocated or new leads have been allocated to you, and it tracks that particular thing in a log. The reason why we have a log in place is to ensure that the workflow happens or the workflow gets executed well. So it's sort of a monitoring system for the workflow itself. And further, as per the process, is it waits for 24 hours to check on the CRM activities whether the first approach was made or not. If it was made, then again, it marks the lead as complete. It moves forward. It waits for again 24 hours to notify the SDR that please send the follow-up as a reminder. And that same process continues till the very end to see whether the SDR is following the end-to-end process or not, and if any flagging is required. Say, for example, on the first stage itself, the first approach wasn't, then immediately a flag gets created and the SDR is notified about it, and the particular thing is also escalated to the manager. And we have the end logs created for the management to then get the daily reports that, yeah, these many flags have been raised against these SDRs and these actions need to be taken. So this is how you can build monitoring systems using tools or platforms like N8n. Helps you in terms of automating this entire thing. And finally, to conclude, designing a sales strategy is important. Designing a sales process is even more important. But designing a monitoring system for that process is what actually ensures execution. Because in sales, the biggest gap is rarely strategy, it's a consistent execution. And the only way to guarantee is to build a system that monitors it. So if you would like to access this particular workflow or want to know more or would want to implement this in your companies, then please do put a comment or DM us. I've shared our email ID in the description below. And thank you so much for watching this one.